This show is sponsored in part by Miss Meow Clothing, offering quality custom clothing for the entire family. Coming soon, brought to you by Miss Cat. Hi, I'm Kathy Brooks, the host of The Kathy Brooks Show. Come discover 3 pillars: spirit, soul, and body. Kathy Brooks Show starts now.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of The Kathy Brooks Show. I'm Kathy. I'm your host. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you so much for your support, everyone who has supported me and watched the episode. So tonight is going to be a little different. It may not be popular what I'm going to say, and it may not be exactly what you think I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. So tonight's topic is how to deal with your haters, or how to deal with your enemies. How do you deal with that? Now, I know a lot of people are, I'm going to reference my notes because I want to make sure I get all my points in. So why is this topic? Why did I pick this topic? Because it's something that's been on my heart. And also I noticed that on social media, we have a lot of people that, what they call clap back, they clapping back at people that say something against them or something about them. And then I know that you all have also seen people posting things that have these subliminal messages. I'm not sure who it's supposed to be for, but they send it out to everybody without, this encryption that, whoever it's supposed to go to, I'm not even sure. So sometimes I'm like, what was that about? And I also have seen, I've also heard in conversations with other people or people talking about, I got all these haters, I got people that's hating on me. Every time I try to do something, I got somebody hating on me. And I'm listening and I'm confused. So what I want to talk about is, how do you handle this? Some may be, quote, warranted, and some of it is just, some people feel like it's coming out of nowhere. Where's all this coming from? Where's all this hate coming from? Why am I getting no love? Why people not loving on me? So I'm going to try to answer some of these questions that I've had in my mind, and I've just been thinking about this. And I'm going to just say, this is totally my opinion. This is totally what I think and how I feel about the situation. You may have a different opinion about it. You may even think differently about it, but I think I want to take it from a different angle. And I'm going to talk about it from the sense of, why is this topic important? Why does it matter? Why do we have to handle hot haters, and what is it that we need to do? I'm going to take it from a perspective of how is it that we can do this and continue to have what I call a prosperous soul, continue to live a life of, wanting to do better and do good and all of that. How do we handle people that have done us wrong and that are doing things and saying things against us? So first, let me, one of the things in that, sometimes we get in, quote, I'm gonna use the word hate and I'm gonna use the word enemies kind of, it's gonna be the same thing. I think that enemies and haters are the same, but I want to say this to just umbrella it all, that, and I'm mostly speaking to people who are believers who say that they want to walk in a Christ-like manner. To those people, I just want to say, first of all, that you're going to have an enemy because you are a child of God. You have a natural enemy. You have the enemy anyway. And, Satan, the dark, the evil will always be an enemy against you. So don't think it's strange that people talk about you or say bad things about you or post things about you. That's not a strange phenomenon. But when you get used to the fact that those people are going to try to attack you on every front. So just put that out there, first of all. So the second piece that I wanted to get to is how do we first approach this? I got a couple of bullet points that I want to say about haters and how to deal with them. First of all, sometimes, let me talk about why we think we get hate. And sometimes we think we're getting hate and we're not really getting hate. Some things you receive, it's not hate, but sometimes it's correction. People may be correcting you and you receive it as hate because it's not something that you want to do. It's not something that sounds right, or they're not co-signing with some of the things that you're doing that may not be in line with what you're supposed to be doing. So that's one reason, or one aspect that you can think about. You don't have these yes men. You don't have these people that are going to be, like I said, co-signing with all the things that you out there trying to do. That's one thing. And the other thing is, sometimes when you're walking in disobedience, it could be the cause of certain warfare or certain warfare. What I mean is certain things that happen to you, certain things that you encounter. It could be you walking in disobedience. That's why some things come up. That's why certain people may come against you, because you're not walking in obedience. You already know what you're supposed to do, but you're walking against that. And sometimes you get that resistance. That's where some hate may come in, or enemy may come in. I want to go to, there's a post that I saw. I don't know. I didn't add any graphics to this, but if it comes back to me, I'll bring it up. Oh, one of them was some of your biggest fans are your haters. That might be true. Some people that watch you or follow you, they may be your biggest fans / haters, because they're constantly wanting to see what it is you do next. And what I found in my own life is that sometimes when people are against you, that gives you more motivation, or it should give you more motivation to keep pushing forward, because people are not going to hate on people that's not doing anything. If you're just sitting around watching TV and nobody know what you're doing, there's no reason to hate on that. And the reverse could be true. Also, somebody's hating on you and they're not doing anything. So why is it that you get so upset about that? Why is it that people get so riled up about somebody that's not even living a life or doing anything that says something about you? Just let them be and do what they do. The other point I wanted to make is sometimes we are too comfortable when we're doing what's wrong, or when we're walking in disobedience, and somebody may come along and check you or say something and it rubs you the wrong way, because it may convict you, because you know that you're already not doing what you're supposed to do, and somebody comes along and check you on that. It don't feel good, and it causes you to think and causes you to say, what is it that I need to be doing? Okay, the other thing is, I don't know if you guys watched the last episode. I talked about church chatter, and I want to talk on that topic and kind of go back to a couple of things. I wrote a couple of notes because I didn't want to forget. There was two particular things that I talked about. One was the incident with Kim Burrell. And if you don't remember, you can go back and watch it. But basically, she said something about the people of the church and made comments that were not very encouraging, for lack of a better word. And then the video I showed was her not necessarily apologizing, but her giving explanation to why she said certain things. And I wanted to touch on that because I think that, there's points when people have to speak, or they're in a certain position, or maybe not in a certain position. We all know people who have said things or done things improperly. That doesn't necessarily mean we throw them away, but we need to give them grace. And what I mean by that, I'm going to go into that a little bit more. But what I mean by that is, allow people some space. Yeah, they could be totally wrong in what they said. And that doesn't mean the person is necessarily bad. That means their behavior is bad. We know a lot of people with bad behavior. I know a lot of people with bad behavior. But that doesn't necessarily mean that person is a bad person. They are exhibiting some bad behavior because of whatever reason they're doing it. So they may spew out hate. They may spew out things that are not edifying to other people. We know what that means. So that's what I wanted to say. Some people will never. The other quote that I came across on social media that somebody posted, it said, some people will never clap for you, win anyway. Yeah, that might be true. Some people might not clap for you, but sometimes you have to understand some things you don't do for the applause of other people. Some things you do because it's your heart's desire to do it, or you want, it's your heart's desire to do it. So you're going to do it what you have. For instance, in this show, if I have one viewer or 10,000 viewers, I'm going to do it because it's something I want to do. And that's my point. It doesn't matter necessarily who's watching, but when the time comes, always do your best anyway, because when the time comes for people to watch, they'll go back and watch. Before Oprah was Oprah, people went back and watched some of the things that she did before people knew her name. So you always put your best foot forward. You always do your best because you want to do your best. You want to put what's best out there. Yes, everybody has an opinion. Just like everybody got a nose, everybody got eyes, everybody got ears. Somebody gonna have something to say. Okay. All right. There's something I always want to go back to say. Why do we care about this? Why do we care about how we deal with our enemies? What does it matter how we deal with them? Basically, to me, how I feel about it is, I always try to go back to what the word says about it, because, that's the only guide that I have. That's the only guidebook that I know of that's helpful. And it basically says, it addresses it in Matthew 43 through 48. And I mean, you can read that, but I'm gonna tell you kind of what it says. It says basically to love those. I'm gonna tell you what it says exactly. It says, first it starts out by saying, God causes the sun to shine on people that are righteous and people that's not righteous. And then it says that he lets it rain on the just and the unjust, the good and the evil. To me, that means that God is gracious. He shows love to everybody, whether they reciprocate that back to him or not. But he's gracious. He's going to give everybody a chance. So how much more is it that he tells us to love our enemies? And it says also, if you love who loves you, what reward is that? I mean, what is it that you're doing? Even people that you quote say haters, they have people that they love. They have families that they love. They have friends that they love. So it's not that it's hard to love somebody that loves you. It's hard to love people that don't love you. And I remember a couple of weeks back, this wise woman said that perfect love casts out fear. And I was thinking, fear, what does that mean? And she also went on to say that, and I'm talking about how to love your enemies. And sometimes you're like, how do you love people? How do you show love to people that you really want to choke, or you really want to knock them upside the head, or you really want to, say bad things against them? How do you show love to them? And sometimes it's the love that's in you. When you have love in you, you can show love to other people. And also, it's when you're connected to the one who is love, his love flows through you to that person. So sometimes we have to step back and get outside ourselves and know that God provides his grace to each of us to be able to show love, to be able to show patience, to be able to show kindness. And um, I guess you would say, well, what does that look like? How do we show love to our enemies? One way, there's instructions. There's some instructions in Romans that says, if your enemy, you know, does something bad to you, just show them kindness. Pile it up on their head. Do kind things to them. Um, Kill them with kindness, in other words. Um, then uh, I don't believe that we have to go tit for tat on everything. We see a lot of that on social media. Somebody says something about, we see it with, I'll give you some examples. Kim Kardashian and Kanye West, they're going through their divorce. He says something that she didn't do, and then she goes back and says something he didn't do, and it's just a back and forth situation. And then we have, uh, like on the episode before when I was talking about the church, and I brought up Bishop Whitehead. Bishop Whitehead, after the robbery, he went through a whole hour-long live talking about blocking his haters and why people hating on him. And I mean, he told more information that we that I didn't even know. He talked about his ex-wife. He talked about how she don't want him to see his children and all the kind of pain he going through. And I mean, that's information we didn't necessarily have to know. And uh, he just exposing himself to more hate because he's opening up more information for people to hate on him about. So sometime, and I wrote it in here because I want to say it the right way. Sometime, when you tell all your business, uh, that's where some hate comes in also, because people are just gonna go in on what you already said, and you wondering how they know about stuff. Sometimes people tell so much they don't even know what they've said. They don't even know that they've told about this and they've told about this, and they get upset about things that just don't even have to be said. So let me how would it look to be able to love somebody or love your haters? How would that look? I wrote down a few things of maybe what I thought it might look like. And I'll give you a scenario that happened in my own life. There was someone in my life that really, really did wrong to me, really did wrong. Brought a lot of pain, a lot of hurt into my life. And at the time, I didn't want to forgive. I didn't want nothing to do with the person. And fast forward several years, I ended up in a place where I'm in the same room with the person. And my first instinct was to jump across the table and just go after them. But for some reason, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. And when I looked at that person, all I could feel was an overwhelming sense of sadness, forgiveness, and I could see that they had pain. I don't know. I can't tell you that was me, because that wasn't me. Because my first thought was, hey, this is too much. I can't deal with this. But to show you, and what I was saying, what I think that looks like is demonstrating grace and kindness. Because it don't take much to be kind. Sometimes just to be kind to somebody could deactivate the meanness that's in them, because they're not expecting that. They're expecting people to be just as mad and upset as they are. But sometimes you just turn that dial up and you're nice and kind without them doing anything despite whatever it is that they've said. You continue to be nice to them. It just disarms them. That's the word I'm looking for. It disarms them. They don't know what to do with that. And sometimes you have to stop seeing other people as threats. Stop seeing them as the the blockage to where you want to go. Yeah, there's going to be roadblocks in life. Yeah, there's going to be obstacles in life, but you overcome those obstacles. You have the grace to be able to do that. Push forward. Don't allow, quote, a hater, or don't allow people, what people say, to block you, because that's just an obstacle. That's just a roadblock. And if you allow, you get caught up in what they saying and what they saying about you and all of that, it's a distraction to what you're really supposed to be doing or where you're really supposed to be going. So don't allow those distractions to hinder you. Um, One thing that we can do is use our imaginations to think, what would it look like um, for us to exhibit grace, for us to exhibit kindness to other people? What would that look like in our world today, when we have so many people dealing with trauma, dealing with all kinds of issues? If we all can exhibit some kindness, if we all can exhibit, well, the word I want to say is demonstrate kindness, um, over time, and over a period of time, that translates into love. It translates into um, helping others. Um, the last thing I wanted to say, so basically, just to sum it up, we see enough hate. We see enough people being mean to each other, being saying harsh things about each other and to each other. That let's take a different path and try to see what it would be like if we show kindness to people, and because we want people to show kindness to us. And one of the things is, we walk in grace. An example of grace would be, like I said, when God said that He gives sunshine and rain to everybody. He doesn't, like, you don't see people walking around and they got rain and these people don't have rain and these people have rain. He gives it to everybody. So we should be able to be generous with our love that's in us. And we can practice it. It's not going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. And I'm not saying that you'll get it right every time. But if we begin to practice it and make an effort over time, we'll get better at it. We'll get better at it, and it won't be such a thorn in our side. We won't have such a thorn of what people are saying or doing against us. And then we have to think it not strange that people talk about us, or people do things that are not um, for our best interests. Um, we have to lean on the grace that God has given us to overcome those types of situations. And the last thing is, don't allow your enemies to block you. Now, we know that we can block people on social media. We can block them, and in no way am I saying to allow people in your life that are toxic. That's not what I'm saying. Of course, get toxic people out of your life. But if it's required to block people and that's the best way you can deal with them, then do that. But I'm saying it's not necessary to always go tit for tat with people. It's not always necessary if somebody call you, say something about you, that you always have to respond. Michelle Obama was a good example of how to deal with that. There are a lot of good examples out there. So that's basically all I have to say about that. I know you all probably was like, I don't know about that, Kathy. It's people with bad attitudes and they mistreat people. And yes, that is definitely true. But what's going to distinguish you from the next person? What makes you different? Even the word tells us that loving people that love us don't give us any reward. but God is happy to see that we try to love our neighbors as much as possible. So, in my sense, in my eyes, that's kind of how you deal with haters. And it's, you may say, "Oh, that's easy for you to say," or it's not easy for me to say, because I've had a walk and I've had a bout with this, and who's to say it's going to come up again? It's always going to be something that's challenging us. But there's other ways to look at it. It takes a lot of energy to fight against the grain. And you don't always necessarily have to protect yourself or say things that's going to protect you. Let your walk, let the way you live speak louder than the words that you have to say back to people. Let the way that you handle situations, let the way that you have grace and class handle situations. That speaks volumes in my eyes. That speaks more volumes than anything. And the way that you handle certain things will disarm your enemy, and they will just don't know what to do with you. So, like I said, it's going to be short and sweet today, and that's about all that I have to say on that topic. But I do want to mention before I leave, in the upcoming weeks, I will continue to start back having guests, and I want to talk about the guest that's coming next week. I'll be starting back the Life Makeover series, to where people have they have reinvented themselves. They have gone through trauma, and they have been able to come out of it on top. And we're going to talk to someone, my next guest next week. We're going to talk to her and what she was able to do with some challenges that she faced and how she was able to overcome those challenges. She's going to walk us through that. And then the following week, we have another great guest that's going to talk about the ministry that he has. And I'm telling you, these are powerful, powerful stories. I think that if you don't get an opportunity to watch it live, you definitely have to come back and watch the replay, because I think that there's going to be nuggets in there that's going to impact your life and help you to move forward. And my goal here is to say something or do something that will give you a piece of information that will put you on a better path. And that's it that I have for tonight. I have that's about all. So I will see you all next week. And hopefully you all have a great week. And I will see you in the next video. Okay? See you on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to Stunner Radio. And don't forget to follow me on social media. To all my friends, I pray that you will prosper in all things and be in health just as your soul prospers. All right. Have a good night, good day, and whenever you're watching this. Bye.